Hey everybody, this is Vril. Welcome back to Extended Timeline World War II. We are now coming up on the year 2022, and the wars that finished off in the last episode, we had a US and Germany colony war against the British. The British were allied with the Soviet Union, and the US and Germany won that war. The Germans were able to take a couple provinces from the Soviet Union, and they were also able to get the Soviets to release Latvia finally in this series. The Americans were able to take a few provinces from the British here in Indonesia, just these provinces on the north of this island. So that's what the Americans got from that war. Over in South America, Uruguay had previously been released by the Brazilians from Argentina, and Argentina in the last episode were able to take that back for themselves. Looking at the armies of the world, we have the Chinese, followed by the USA, Soviet Union, Italy, and Japan. A lot of countries here very low on their manpower, and I will note, interestingly enough, that the Cape Colony has moved in the top 15 armies of the world, so that's kind of pretty big, I'd say, for them. And in terms of the actual wars that are going on, we had a lot fire off at the end of the last episode. We have the Albanian conquest against Serbia, so Albanians have the Hungarians, who are just the one province, and Romania against Serbia and Poland. The Peruvian conquest against Panama, and actually El Salvador was in that war, but El Salvador looks like they peaced out. But the Panamanians still have the help of Mexico. Another Chinese-Japanese nationalist war, an American change of form of government in Japan, and we have this British-Nigerian, so a bunch of colonies, war for independence. I was noting that Cape Colony is a very large army, and the Spanish and I think the Italians are in here. And the British don't really have, didn't get any help from the Soviet Union. They had a lot of help from them in the past, but not at this point. So let's have a look at these wars. I wanted to focus on this Albanian war. They look like they're going to be able to capture quite a bit of Serbia here, possibly, going forward. I wonder if the Hungarians might be able to grab a little bit of former territory that they had. They were very, very early on in the series. They were getting pretty large, and I think it was Greece ended up warring with them and putting them back in their place, splitting them up, and then I think maybe Romania took a bunch of territory from them and left them as one province minor, basically. So I think do we have another war fire off, or we just had a different sorting here? Yeah, I think it's different sorting. You guys can note if I'm missing anything. Yeah, so Panama pieced out with El Salvador and ended up taking all of El Salvador, apparently. Peru has some very good armies, and looks like they've taken out the Mexican armies that were there. So I thought that might go on the Panamanians and the Mexican side, but apparently not with these 3-star generals. And the the Panamanians have some Salvadoran separatists here, so dealing with all of that too. Quickly looking back at Albania. So the Polish are on the side of Serbia. Romanians here, we've got the Albanians, so the Romanians are going to be taking over, looks like, areas in Poland. Just looking at Albania is in a royal marriage with the Bulgarians here, but they are not in that war. Just looking here, be curious to see what the Americans actually end up doing. We've got the Argentinians are also now warring with Paraguay, also released by the Brazilians in a previous episode, just like Uruguay was. So I would say that probably is going to go very quickly. Argentinians have 50k stack against an 8k, so not much to see there. I do think that the Brazilians will not be very happy about what's going on there, though, so we'll see what happens. So Romania is starting to siege out. We've got, I think the Polish had captured a province there in Romania, and they just sieged it back real quickly. The Polish, because of, in the couple episodes ago, the Germans had taken over a bunch of Poland, so the Polish army was just rebuilding itself, and it looks like not going to go very well for them, being that the Romanians are now at war with them. All of these colony wars, I know we've had a lot of them, but they've never succeeded, so I'm not going to really pay attention to that one too much until it starts getting some pretty good war score. Did we have... The Chinese are still at war with the Chinese here. The Philippine area here is occupied by the Chinese at this point. The Japanese had captured this part of Taiwan, though. We'll see if the Chinese can try to move any of their navies into... It looks like the Americans are trying to move in because they're at war here, too. I'm surprised that the Chinese don't have a higher war score than they do with all of this. What I'd like to see is Hungary at least get a couple more provinces, just because they were coming on strong, trying to take over all of the Balkan areas here, and then they got put back into their place by the Greeks, I think it was. Greeks were been allied with the Italians for almost the entire series. I think we had a couple wars just end. I think the Argentinian one ended at Albanian conquest of Kosovo, way up into the 80s in their war score, so going very, very well for them. I want to see what the Romanians and Hungarians and the Albanians end up taking from this at the end when it finishes off. It looks like the Saudi Arabians are actually... Okay, they're kind of stuck in the Soviet Union, and... did think that so I think they actually had to... I think they were in this war. They had to peace out or something like that. So the Iranians were capturing their land with their army exiled over there. See, the Iranians are on the side of these colonies that are trying to gain independence. Okay, this war with the Albania and Serbia just ended. We've got Hungary, got a couple provinces, new provinces for them finally. Albania is coming on very strong here, and it looks like the Romanians captured a couple... Is it a couple provinces or just one province of Ruthenia? It's a pretty large one, though, and we've got Romanian peasants that are rising up. Not good for them. Yeah, it looks like the Romanians won that, so should be okay for them. So Serbia is down to just a couple provinces. So Albania is now becoming... We've really had a lot of sides flipping on who is the power nation in the Balkans there throughout this series. So in terms of the war for independence from all of these colonies, that's apparently not going very well. Just looking at war scores, not going very well. I suspect that British naval power might be able to do a bunch of blockades in this, so that probably won't go too well, but we'll see. But yeah, they are certainly capturing a lot of the Congo here. Great Britain's capturing a part of actual British Nigeria as the main belligerent here. They're the ones that declared for independence. And it looks like that war with I think it was, Paraguay? Yeah, Paraguay ended off. And the Peruvians still warring with the Panamanians. Looks like they're certainly going to win that. The Mexicans probably just want to hold on to their army and not throw it into this mess here, but I don't think they're going to be able to do that. It looks like they've got, actually, their army is split here, and they've got about a 28, actually 40k here, another 40k there, so they're just going to get destroyed again. We'll watch if the Americans decide to declare war against them. It's not very good for them. Surprised that this Chinese war, actually it's going way on the side of the Chinese at this point. Yeah, they've captured... The Chinese are starting to capture... Actually, they're not... Okay, they've got an army here, capturing this province here in Taiwan, and it looks like they need to regroup and take out this one, and maybe they'll be able to capture all of Taiwan. Although I know many episodes ago I was like, we'll see what the Chinese will do with Korea, we'll see what they do with Taiwan, and they ended up piecing out and only taking like one province, so we'll see what they ended up actually taking. We've got Iran is occupying parts of what is British Bahrain here. Looks like the Saudi Arabians got their army back, and we've got the Omanis. Do have a decent sized stack. They might be wanting to take on Iran in the future, although their army is smaller. If they can get an ally in that, they could possibly get help, but I think the Iranians are allied with the Italians, so you don't want to declare war against them and get the Italians involved. Italians have very good armies in this series. Let's see here, what do we want to look at? Kind of hard to see what's going on with all this. Colony wars. Let's have a look at what's going on in Japan. I would think that the Chinese are sieging out here. It's going pretty well for them. They should be able to siege out this area in a moment, and then they'll probably take on... We've got, what, almost 500,000 troops here in Taiwan. 300 and some thousand for the... Well, almost 300,000 for the Chinese, and another almost 150k for the Japanese here, so probably going to have a very big battle between the two in a moment. There it goes, probably. I don't think the Japanese have... Here we go, so big battle. It's going to be 250k versus 130k. No crossing penalties, or actually no, there is a crossing penalty at -2 on the terrain for the Chinese, so that could be pretty interesting there. Looks like it's going to go on the side of the Chinese, though. But not without a significant loss of life. Not that it matters. The Chinese had like a million manpower ready to go if they needed it. They even had troops to come over to this province of Sakam to siege. Well, they actually joined in. Wow, the Japanese are coming back. Wow. To taking out a almost 300k stack of Chinese. Wow, I'm very impressed by that. But with that said, the war just ended. Looks like the Americans are sieging in Japan. So the Chinese just took all of Taiwan from the Japanese, but the Japanese did hold on to Japanese Korea. I would have expected, if the war score had gone a little bit higher, that possibly the Chinese would have taken all of Korea. But that was not to be. So why are the... Change form of government. The Americans... Okay, that's not the Americans. That's Congo. The Congo's sieging out areas of the Netherlands. Okay, I thought that was... thought it was the Americans here. So the Americans actually have a stack. Okay, there it is. The 61k stack. Again, no leader. Just like always, the Americans like to go no leader on any of their armies. I wonder what the Americans' tech group is at this point. We've got 91, so that's pretty standard. The Japanese have 91s. The only thing they're lagging behind is then that diplomatic tech, and they've actually gained quite a bit. I think maybe 10 episodes, 15 episodes ago, they were the only one with like 84 diplomatic tech. Got a little battle here between the Japanese and the Americans. Japanese should win that. So that -2 on that Chinese. We've got some pirates here Unless that's a bug, because it says that it's Americans and Japanese. Okay. So, yeah, the Americans lost that battle. Japanese not pursuing, though. The Japanese are... most of their army is completely exiled over here in Taiwan, so... kind of interesting. What's going on there? Just gonna have a quick look around the map here. We've got these Romanian particularists. Looks like the particularists that beat the Romanians... but it looks like they're gonna lose here. So Hungary should probably try to take over Croatia is what I'm kind of thinking. That would be their best idea. And at least they can merge up their land here because they have this province and they would at least connect the two if they were able to take over Croatia. We've got the British East Africa has arrived in Iran. So where is British East Africa even on this? There it is. Okay, yeah, so they are allied. Not sure why they'd be all the way up there. Heading through Cape Colonies, heading through Saudi Arabia, some sort of military access. It looks like, okay, we've got a lot of sieging going on in India. So surprisingly, this war score is on the positive side, though. We did have this Portuguese conquest here in Mauritius, and that war score for the Japanese Americans against the Japanese also going well. For the Americans, since they've got this territory that they've sieged out. They probably got some blockades going on here. We'll see how long it takes for the Japanese to get their exile armies back. I'm surprised that the Americans don't try to siege out what is the Japanese Philippines here. Got another small American stack on the northern island here. Let's see if the Americans are actually going to try to attack this Japanese stack. I really wouldn't recommend doing that for them, but yeah, I mean, look at that. They even took a crossing penalty there, so not very smart for the Americans there. Although, the more they take down the Japanese, I think let's quickly have a look here. Looks like that Portuguese Mauritius war just ended. We've got the Japanese. They've got manpower. So it's not like the Americans were going to... Of course, their armies, again, they've got almost 180k stuck over in Taiwan, and they don't have the navy to move them over because of the blockades that are going on, and they wouldn't want to move them over and possibly lose 140k of their army there. Previous episodes, the Soviets are slowly moving their way towards this mainland Japan. We'll see if that a war with those fires off again. We've got a French Haitian, so that's not going to be much of anything. Cameroonian Portuguese. Cameroon with Mali and Guinea against Portugal, Spain, Spanish West Africa. Okay. And this little war here. So Haiti is just a couple islands, including the Bahamas. Apparently they have claims on Jamaica. But yeah, I wouldn't think that they're at war with France, so I don't think that's going to go very well for them. Assuming that the Haitians can get, or not the Haitians, but the French can get their armies across the ocean there into the Caribbean. Just looking at... So it is going decent, this British-Nigerian War for Independence. And it looks like some of them have pieced out. Some of the allies of the British have pieced out in this war. So it does look like we're out of time for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, please consider hitting the like button. And I'll see you guys next time.